So I want to thank you all for being here this evening. We have a slide deck that has been sent to us by the state, as is generally the case. We are going to go through that and we're going to take time to answer some questions on that. And then we are going to move on to the training. And obviously, in between the two, if some of you are not interested in the training, obviously we would encourage you to go ahead and sign off and go on with your evening. So again, thank you for being here. Our agenda or our topics for this evening are, go ahead and move on, uh, Angela. The topics for this evening are some reminders, some information about December office hours, some information about expenditure reporting, some information about the pre-registration phase and what's going to happen there. We're going to go over the decline reasons and how to view and decline matches, enrolling and unenrolling, and we're going to talk about a feature that is coming soon that is around your being able to increase your own seats during certain time frames. And then, as always, we're going to talk about provider resources. So the first topic is reminders. Go ahead, Angela. So we just wanted to remind you on how to find supplemental hours eligibility information. So as we have talked about before, you can find the child eligibility information under the column titled Child Eligibility Hours Per Week, HPW. And then here is the information about what you can, when you see the information in the column, you will see HPW 15 PW or 15 PW, comma 30 PW HPW. If you see 30 HPW in that column, that means that that family is eligible for 30 hours per week. You're not going to see 10 likely, but you will see either 15 or 30 or both. And so if you see 30 in there, you know that that family is eligible. To pull the report, you go to your student tab first. And then if you have a particular location you're looking for, go to that specific location. Then click on the three dots to download the enrollment report. And this information is always up to date, so it's not behind the times, if you will. And the most recent information from the family submitted application is there. So if you need that information, that is how you get it. And we would encourage you to use that. If you are having any challenges with that, please reach out to us and we will assist you with that. Let's move on to the December provider office hours. And this has been going out to you in 2 or 3 different emails at this point. One of them was last evening, as you know. There are 2 more to come, one on December 9th and one on December 16th. The ones on the 9th and the 16th will actually have simultaneous translation as needed. So for sure, they are doing both, obviously, English and Spanish. But if you need some other language for whatever reason, which you're not likely to be on this call if you do, but if you know someone who needs some other language other than that, ask them to go ahead and reach out and ask for that. And then you can always submit your questions in advance. So these slides, if they're not already up, will be up on our website. So you can use the link there to submit that form to submit questions. Let's move on to expenditure reporting, everybody's favorite topic. So there has already been a provider office hour on the expenditure reporting. That office hour was recorded. It was included in links that we have sent out to you, as well as it is up on our UPK provider page. So I would encourage you to look at that if you have not already. and then make sure that you write down your questions. I want to remind you that this expenditure template and tool are there for you to complete first before you sign in to actually do it online. Melanie has told me that once you get started on that, there's a point at which you cannot save and go back. So you need to be ready to go with the template before you sign on to submit your expenditure form. So complete that first. If you have any questions around that or need additional assistance, I want you to reach out to me and we will go through it one-on-one. They are planning to do an office hour specifically for family child care teachers, and they are also doing a simplified FAQ, if you will, for family child care teachers. If you can wait for that, that's great. If not, that's perfectly okay too. I think I know enough about how this is being done that I can assist you through it so that you can get it done. It does need to be presented by or submitted by December 20th. Melanie.
Noreen, were you by chance on the office hours last night?
No.
Okay. In the office hours, Alice said that they have already set up a date for the family child care home expenditure meeting, and that's actually going to be next Tuesday night.
Okay.
They had included a link to register for that meeting in the chat. So that meeting that was last night, they said it wasn't even for family child family child care providers, and we could log out. So it's next Tuesday.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for letting me know that. And as soon as that link is made available to us to register, we will get it all out to all family childcare teachers so that you have the ability to be able to do that. I will send an email up to the state asking them for that link because we have not received it yet, and we want to make sure it goes out to you. If any of you have received a separate communication as a family child care teacher with that link, I would appreciate it if you would forward it to me so that I can then make sure that everybody gets it. What I have found is often the communication from the state does not make it to everybody, so we resend it to make sure that you have it. So thanks for that information, Melanie. Greatly appreciate it. So I assume it's Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. Is that correct? Okay. They are more likely now to record these than they were in the past. And so I would assume that that would also be recorded so that there would be the opportunity for you to go back and look at it. Or if you're not able to make it on Tuesday at the 6th, at 6 o'clock, then, but again, even if you look at that recording and you still need one-on-one help or you don't want to wait for that, please let me know and I would be happy to assist you. Let's go to the next slide, please. In 24-25, the state is going to quarterly so that you will not be doing a one time per year, you will be doing it quarterly. To get this started, there will be um, a so on March 30th, you will be asked to submit what they call, there's only 3 quarters because the fourth quarter is the summer and there's no UPK. So they're calling it Q1, Q2, and Q3. So Q1 is going to be August through November. Q2 is going to be December through February, and that is going to be due on March 30th. And then the third quarter is the through the end of the year. I don't remember exactly the date that that is going to be due. It actually might be in here. Go to, no, it's not. But that information is out there. We will continue to put it out there as more information is available on the 24-25 quarterly reporting. But just so that you know that this is coming up and they are moving to quarterly reporting rather than annual reporting. So the report that is due on December the 20th is UPK for 23-24. Okay. The report that is due on March 30th is Q1 and Q2 of 24-25. And then Q3 will be due after the end of the year. I think it's June 30th, but I can't actually remember that for sure. Okay. So as you can see here, there is an FAQ document, but it sounds as if maybe that won't be appropriate for family childcare teachers. But if you're a center, that would likely be appropriate for you. Next slide, please. So here's the provider office hours that were held on 11/26, and you can access the recording there. I can assure you that that is really not appropriate for family childcare teachers. It gives you some basic information, but nothing more than that. It makes things much more complicated than they need to be for family childcare teachers. So, if you want to look at that, you certainly can, but you don't have to. I do believe, in fact, I'm sure that the reporting template is going to be the same for everybody. It's just that family childcare teachers are going to not need nearly the number of categories that are on there that could be used for school districts and for center-based providers. So no panicking around this if you're a family childcare teacher. It's very simple. And so we'll make sure that you have all of the support that you need. Are there any other questions on the expenditure reporting at this point? Okay, let's move on to what's going to happen with pre-registration here. So as you all know, for 25-26, the pre-registration, actually the registration for all families opens on December 17th. Okay, we have had a lot of people ask, when am I going to get my link to be able to send to my continuity of care families? That link cannot be available until your programs are published. And they're working right now through all the setup forms to try and get everything published. It all will be published before December 17th, but you're not going to have a link until that point. So you can't do anything. Your families can't do anything about registering before December 17th anyway. And they have all the way till February 3rd if they need a pre-registration category or qualification to get in there. And so what is going to, so you're going to be receiving matches of people who have said that they have priority with you. You're going to be receiving them every day. If there are any, they're coming through to you. And you're going to look at them and you're going to say, yes, they do meet the pre-registration qualification with me. Or you may have some people who say they do, but they really don't. Okay, at which point you can decline them. And we're going to go through declines in a couple of minutes. And but none of that is going to be available to the family until after February 3rd. Okay, so that entire period is for pre-registration. All right, and so you're going to get them daily. They're not going to back up on you for some of the larger providers. They're coming to you every single day that a family applies and submits. And then you can react when you have time to do that. And the family is not going to know if you declined them unless you choose for whatever reason to call them and say, hey, you said you had priority with me, and in fact, you don't. So you can do that if you want to, but they're not going to know that you have declined them. And then February 4th, they are going to get everybody who has been accepted for pre-registration is going to get notification that they've been accepted. And they're going to have 1 week to accept or decline. So if a family changes their mind and for whatever reason doesn't want to go with you and doesn't want to accept that seat, they have the ability to decline during that week. Anybody who declines or you declined because they do not have pre-registration status, and those who do not have pre-registration status but enrolled in the system as of December 17th will go into the first matching algorithm. And the first matching algorithm is on February the 10th. Let's go to the next slide, please. So all of the timelines are up on the JIUPK page. There is a link there for all of the timelines, what happens in every single piece of this. So it's there. Please feel free to take a look at that. So this just goes over who qualifies for pre-registration, if you will. And so they can qualify if they are attending the same provider the prior year and want to continue in the same program. They can apply if they are a child of the provider's employee, and if they have a sibling already enrolled at the provider. There are some school districts in particular who do not honor the sibling piece because they simply do not have enough seats to be able to do that. And those are the ones that are more likely to send out the link specifically to families that qualify for pre-registration. We have also asked them that if they don't honor that, to make sure it goes up on their website, that families are aware of that. If you are not a school district and you are not honoring one of these, I want you to reach out to me before that, and so that we can talk that through. Because it may come up as a red flag with the state, and I want to make sure that we have talked that through. So as we said, families who are not eligible for pre-registration can still apply beginning December 17th, and those families will be placed during the first matching round beginning February 10th. Now, if you do not use a link that you send to families can still go in and apply as continuity of care or pre-registration, priority registration. They must put you first, and then they must to look at priority. So make sure you make that clear to your families that that's what they need to do.
You glitched a little bit, Noreen. Could you repeat that little piece?
Starting where?
Just if they, about the link, just that last sentence that you were talking
Okay,
about.
so if they do not use the link and they go ahead and apply using upk.colorado.gov, they have to put you first, and they have to answer one of the questions at the bottom, naming you and that program as where they have priority. If they do not do that, they are not coming through to you as having priority. So where they say they have priority needs to be first in the application. Okay. And then can we go to the next slide, please? So this is just information that I just talked about. They have to be at their current provider as their first choice in their application, and they must answer at least one of the continuity of care questions with this provider. So there you go. That's pre-registration. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move on to decline reasons. So when you did your setup form, you stated certain things apply to you or don't apply to you. And these are the decline reasons that you can use, but only if you stated that these apply to you in the setup form. Okay, so there are certain decline reasons that can be used during pre-registration, and those are the next slide. So these are only available during pre-registration. So you can read the list here. I'm a provider that prioritizes placement for the children of my employees. This child does not qualify for pre-registration because they are not a current student, et cetera, et cetera. So again, these are only applicable during pre-registration. After that, if they're not on that list that you filled up out on the setup form, they are not a valid reason to decline a family. Okay? Questions there? Let's look at the last slide here. So this is the slide around if you have a special reason that is not on that list for why you might or might not decline a family, you have to ask the state through us to accept that as a valid reason, and they approve it or not. So I'll give you an example since Karen is on this call. District 3 has two schools that they only accept kiddos into those two schools or those two centers that that are within that attendance boundary, if you will. And so they have a special decline reason that says these kiddos have to be within the school district attendance boundary here, the homeschool boundary, if you will, rather than just, they don't live in the district. They do live in the district, but they're not in the boundary of that school. So they last year and the year before, well, this year and the year last year, they requested that special reason for declining. So that's an example. So this tells you how to address that. And you can submit it to us, and then we can submit it up to the state after we have discussed with you why you want that as a decline reason, and they get the right to approve it or not. All right, how to view and decline matches. You guys should all be pretty familiar with this at this point, so we're not going to spend any time on this. And again, these slides are going to be up. You also have a provider handbook that goes through exactly how to do this. And there's a pro tip here when reviewing this screen, you just have the option to filter by status to better manage matches. New records will show a new tag, and pre-registration matches will show the pre-registration element for verification. So again, if you're having any issues, reach out to us and we will be more than happy to help you. So let's go on to enrolling and unenrolling. I think the important part here is for you all, please, and this includes right now too, to ensure that that you are unenrolling on the last day that the child has attended. And you do have a grace period of 10 days, but still the unenrollment is the unenrollment date is the last date that the child attended. If they are moving to another UPK provider, it is dependent upon you unenrolling that child so that the other UPK provider can enroll on the first day that the child is attending. The state does not honor your agreement with the parent that they have to give you so much notice. That's between you and the parent. UPK does not honor that. So you do have 10 days in which to unenroll, but your unenrollment date must be the last date that the child is physically there. So they have clarified that over and over and over again. That was not originally how things were communicated at the start of year one, but it is the stance of the state at this point. We have struggled a little bit with getting providers to unenroll on time so that a family can move to another provider. We have been asked to submit that to the state if there is that issue. We at JI are not allowed to unenroll, and we will not unenroll. We will continue to encourage you to unenroll, and if you do not do that in a timely manner, we have been told to submit it to the state, and it will likely affect your payment. just so you know. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. Edit seat count by type. So this is coming. It's new. So you are going to be able to go in and adjust your seats up throughout the school year. And this should be coming soon. So you should be able to do it during this school year. We are told that there are certain times that you are going to be able to do this. I don't know whether they will change that and just make it open at any point, or whether they will say, here's the block of time in which you can make changes, and that's the only time you can make changes unless you submit it to us at JI. But you're going to be able to do that without coming to us. Decreasing seats still has to come to us. Because we've got to make sure that there aren't kids holding up seats and therefore we can decrease them. Sometimes that's not apparent to you, but it is apparent to us. So that's where we are with that. So there will be more information coming, but just so you know that is, I had told you earlier in the year that there is more and more capability that is going to be provided to you as providers to manage this, and this is one of the steps there. Questions on that? Okay, so the last two slides are the provider resources. These are the same on all of our roundtables. So you know that there's a provider handbook. They are updated all of the time. The link that is on the UPK provider page always goes to the latest version. Same thing with the family handbook. You can always go to the CDEC website and the Colorado Universal Preschool newsletter. And then, of course, next slide, there are all of the JI resources. You folks are all getting, I hope, are all getting the emails that we're sending out, that I send out fairly regularly. We are still doing a UPK newsletter once a month, but I have found that most people have said that the information in the overall JI professional development and early childhood newsletter is sufficient for that purpose. If it's specific to UPK, we should be doing it via email. So Angela, I've been copying Angela on those, and she's been posting those updates on the provider webpage. And when I say provider webpage, Angela has made a change on the JI webpage. We now have one for families, which is www.jointinitiatives.org/UPK families, FAMILIES. And then the one that is just UPK is now only for providers. Although we do put relevant information to families up there so that you're aware of it, that's not where we want you to send families. We want you to send families to the UPK families page. It is simplified and is much more specific to them. All right, so let's stop sharing here and let's see what questions you have about anything we have shared so far. Karen.
Going back to the pre-registration, if you have a family that does not qualify for pre-registration, but they say they do, so you decline them, will they come back to us through the algorithm, or if we decline, are they gone?
No, they will, if they keep you on their application, they will go through the algorithm with you on there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about anything we've shared so far? All clear as mud? Okay. You sure? Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and stop recording this particular